All right, I'm in Perth, Ontario, Canada, and I'm not going to go in because they charge you about 20 bucks to get in here when this is on, something like that. But this is the Perth Fair. Up in there is where the campground is for the carnival workers. That's why all the trailers and stuff. They always stay up in there when the fair is on. Let's see now. Lots of ivy growing there. Fairgrounds. Yeah. There we go. All right. Yeah, this fair is held every Labor Day weekend here, and it's kind of a big event in the town. When I was growing up, it was something you had to go to, or you felt like you had missed out on something, even though there really isn't much to it. It's just an opportunity to spend a lot of money. But still, when you're a kid, you really do feel like you missed out if you didn't go. This is the first day of it. It hasn't really even officially started yet, and there's already lineups way down the street to get in. Oh, there they are with the motor cars. That's kind of neat to see. Yeah, pretty neat. All right, let's go ahead this way. There's a better view of the cars. Yeah, kind of neat. Alrighty, there's the lineup to get in. Ferris wheel. Yeah.
Just for him laughing, I want to get this for hair. Got it, bud. Good job.
Anyway, when I was a kid, my grandparents lived over there, across from the school. That's Queen Elizabeth School there. And yeah, the fair was always kind of a big deal anyway. See there, it keeps going along. Just moving along this way here. Like I say, I'm not going to go in because it's very expensive to get in. It's not, but anyway. Go have a look for the fence though. They can't charge us for that. Oh. Yeah. Anyway, tonight they'll have a demolition derby. Tonight they'll have a demolition derby, and that'll be the official start of it. But, you couldn't pay me enough. You couldn't pay me enough to get on that thing. You really couldn't. I certainly wouldn't pay to get on it, much less would I even agree to be paid to get on it. Anyway, I'm going to try to walk back to the truck now. I know my grandparents lived on the other side of the school there, just across the street from the school, from Queen Elizabeth School. That's actually the schoolyard where me and my cousin Alan got beat up by older kids when we were 3 years old. because they knew who we were, and we were Catholics, and we were playing on their schoolyard. This was considered a Protestant schoolyard, and we weren't to be there. So, I mean, the playground equipment was all different back then. It didn't look like it does now. But this was way back in 1971. We were 3 years old, and we got targeted by a bunch of 6, 7, and 8-year-olds, and they just beat the shit out of us. They did. They really hurt us, and they called us Dogans. That was the first time I ever heard the term Dogan. You know. Anyway, like I say, it looks a lot different now, and of course the world has changed a lot. Things like that don't happen like they used to. Thank goodness for that. But anyway, there's quite a lineup here. All people waiting to get into the fair, and more coming all the time. But it's kind of a big deal anyway. Actually, while I'm here, I'll show you. Well, we're in the neighborhood. The school is quite a bit different too. It's bigger than it used to be. When I was a little boy, the school was a lot smaller. It's been added on to and whatnot. But that's Queen Elizabeth Public School anyway. Or we used to call it Queen E. But yeah, anyway, show you some landmarks around here. We will. All that there wasn't there back then. All that gray structure, I think that's a gym. It wasn't there back then. Anyway, over here, this white house here was my grandparents' house. It looks a little different now too than it did back then. It's basically the same, but there's differences. There's a few things that I see that are different. Anyway, yeah. And yeah, this here was my grandparents' house. That building beside it there, the garage, was my grandpa's workshop. That was green years ago. It was a green building. But yeah. Anyway, that house wasn't there. Neither was that one. That was all bush. In fact, we called that Mattie's Bush. And the reason we called it Mattie's Bush is because there was an abandoned house in there that had belonged to a lady named Mattie. And it was a thing. When I was a kid, each of us had to go in there at some point in order to prove we were brave. And of course it was rumored to be haunted and stuff like that, you know. And there was a garage next to it. And in 1974, when they tore that house down and they built this house, this was the first house that was built. Well, they built the apartment building, which has the roof there, you can see. And then they built that house, and then that one. But anyway, when they tore it down to build the apartment building, Mattie's house and the garage, when they opened up the garage, this was in 1974, they found a brand new 1947 Pontiac in the garage. It turns out Mattie's husband had bought this new car in 1947, a new Pontiac, and he had only driven it a few miles. He hadn't driven it much. He came home from work in it one day, parked it in the garage, went into the house, took a heart attack, and died. And the car just never moved from there. Well, the workmen, they hauled that car out of the garage, and by the end of the day, they had it running. Like by afternoon, really, they had the car running, you know. and it hadn't run from 1947 to 1974. It hadn't